Taoiseach, I'm glad to see your department is bringing down the gender pay gap. That's good. But at 11.2% on average nationally, this is still not good enough. And women earning less than men in comparable jobs is something that should be confined to the history books, not the current situation in the 21st century. But I think it's also worth noting that there's also a gender pension gap, and that the Committee on Social Protection heard that women retire earning 35% less than their male counterparts, and the proposed auto-enrolment plan will do nothing to address this. So here is an issue that into retirement and beyond working life, the government could do something about by absolutely bringing in social protection measures that will address that income gap. It's not a mystery or unexplained why it is that women are suffering lower pay than men. It is because overwhelmingly they are employed in professions and sectors that involve child-rearing duties or teaching, and this impacts on how and where they can work. A general relegation of caring, of nursing, of teaching, the sort of professions in society, in hospitality and retail that are often dominated by women, we find high levels of precarious work and low levels of pay. And while we welcome the statutory rule that employers must report the gap, we need much more than reporting to address it. So we can say we formally have legislation passed by the Dáil that has provided equal pay for equal work, but we need action. And really the question we should be discussing here is how we can address it through union organisation, to the right to join a union and to fight for that equality.
Thank you. Thanks, Deputy. As I mentioned earlier, Ireland's gender pay gap is 11.3%, which is a narrower pay gap than the EU average, and I'm happy to say that that is less bad, not better than, if deputies prefer. It would be in line with some of the Nordic countries, though, which are often held up as examples for us to follow in terms of gender pay. But my view is that there should be no gender pay gap at all, and the objective therefore must be zero, or at least statistical zero, as close to zero as can be achieved. That will take some time. Very often there are two factors, there are many factors at play, but among the factors that are at play is not enough women in senior positions. And of course, it's only as those vacancies arise that more women can be promoted to those senior positions. And secondly, there's a whole issue around increments, that men may be in employment for longer and have built up increments over time, which actually give them higher pay for the same work. But I don't think anyone in this House would propose that we remove increments in order to achieve gender equality. In terms of the gender pay gap, I think there is a difference between the state pension and occupational pensions. I don't know what the gender pay gap is for the state pension, but I think it is much smaller than is the case for occupational pensions. And of course, occupational pensions are related to the number of years that you work and the amount that you pay in. And I think as more women enter the workforce, as more women get better paid jobs, as we introduce auto-enrolment, you will see that improve. But it is fundamentally linked to the amount you pay in. That is how that pension system works, and I think that is fair.